Our next assignment is the SK2C, and this is the letter abbreviations. This will really fine-tune your architectural lettering skills. And this is a very necessary document. We'll be using it in the future, so make sure you give it 100%. Let's get started. Our next assignment, SK2C, is abbreviations. This is going to be an extremely important document. I want you to give it 100% with your architectural lettering. You will actually be using this exact document for your final project. We're going to put it on a cover letter. So make sure it is the best that you can do. Here, you're not just going to trace it. You're going to follow some instructions. We want to learn how to use our lettering guide. Once again, this is something that has little holes, and it's called a lettering guide. This allows us to make easy, quick guidelines so we can do our lettering. So what are we asking? We need 2 pencils for this. One, a small with a hard lead, so we can make very light, small lines. That's what we use for our lettering guide. And then you want a thicker pencil with a softer lead that gives us our nice chiseled, thick, heavy line right here, so you can really see the verbiage. Now what's so beautiful about this is as you're repeating these are all abbreviations you will find on your drawings. And it's great to get acquainted with them so that when you further in your career, you'll understand what some of these mean. We will also implement them in our own drawing. So this abbreviation, here at the top it says the word abbreviation needs to be 3/8 of thickness. And then the smaller letters from here, these guys, are 3/16. That's the standard letter height for architectural drawing in lettering, 3/16 of an inch. So what we're going to do is we're going to create 1/4 inch guidelines, and then we're going to come a little bit short of that, just a little, and that's going to give us our 3/16 of an inch. So as you start to work on the body of this, of course you want to give yourself one nice thick line here, and we can just still outline what we're going to do with that. So, you know, let's say you're going to have your little thick line, and above that you want to have the word abbreviations, and the abbreviations is 3/8 of an inch thick. So we usually come up about 1/4 of an inch or so, a little longer, and then give yourself so a little space. We're going to do 1/4 of an inch. And we're going to bring this here, a nice light guideline. That's where we're going to start the word abbreviation. And then the abbreviation is 3/8 of an inch. So you can go to your 1/8 scale and do 3 of them, or we may even have, there it is, 3/8 of an inch. It is that distance. That's how thick that we want our word abbreviation. So we are going to go ahead and tick that off, and we're going to put this here, and we'll do a nice light line. So in that line we'll write the word abbreviation, and this is where all of that practice is going to come in really handy as you start to letter with your darker pencil. Okay, so it's good to get the guidelines in first. So now we know we're going to have that the first heading. The rest, there's a lot of lines here. This is where we get to use our handy dandy lettering guide. Now let me explain to you these little holes. Every hole represents 1/8 of an inch. We want several lines at 1/4 of an inch. So you will skip a hole. So every other hole you'll see a little mark on there. That represents 1/4 of an inch. Let me show you what I mean. So you're going to take your very light, skinny pencil, and you will start your first hole. And you will drag it across ever so lightly. You will come down 2 holes and go back the other way. Then go down 2 holes and go back the other way. 2 holes, back the other way. And so forth until you have an entire page of lines. This helps you to create guidelines, very quick and very fast. Once you complete the whole page, then you will start. So our letters are 3/16 of an inch, which means it's just a little bit below there. So you can eyeball that as you start to fill this out. Once you complete an entire page of guidelines, you should also create a column line so that you know how to slightly lie, so you know exactly where to start your beginning letters. Next, you should create another line, very light, where you'll start to your other set of letters. And then you'll do that for the next row, very light, little small area, and then for the next set. That way, you have some guidelines of how to create this exact grid. And then you just start. You start filling in your lettering. And it will take some time, but I promise you it'll be worth it as you go into, mine's a little crooked here, but as you start to get things in order, and first you start creating that thick line, and make sure that you're using the right pencil for the right job, okay? So if you're wanting to create that really long, thick line that's right there, an abbreviation, right? You may even have to kind of go over it a couple times just to create a nice thick line. And that becomes your foundation point for this whole space. And as you continue, so then you will start your word abbreviation and work your way down. You want to make sure that things are looking centered and you are getting nice spacing, and you land on that guideline. Remember, all of your vertical lines must be used with a straight edge. And then start to work your way down and filling out in your style that you've kind of created, and start to develop your architectural style. From then, once you put the word abbreviation, you can start to go down and start working with the smaller letters. The first AFF, which stands for above finished floor. And so I recommend that you would go through and do all of your abbreviations, and then make sure you start with the explanations of them, and then repeat that on the other side. By the time you're done, you will have a beautiful set of abbreviations that you'll use for your final project. And like I said, the practice makes perfect, and this will give you plenty of that. Well, we finished those abbreviations. I'm sure they're going to look fantastic. And like I said, practice makes perfect.